A chilling erosion of free speech looms over sunny West Hollywood. In the wake of politically motivated violence by an anti-fascist group and their controversial arrests at West Hollywood Pride, residents fear a troubling trend where political violence is not only tolerated, but also encouraged by those in authority. Stay tuned as we hear perspectives from local leaders and catch up with those directly impacted. Saturday afternoon, April 15th, at West Hollywood's Public Library, a protest in defense of Drag Queen Story Hour took a dark turn.
They just attacked me because I went to go film a Drag Queen Story Hour. They didn't want me to film it for some reason, and I was really... Did you see that? No, they attacked me and
Jairo Marquez, a lone protester, found himself surrounded by over 24 counter-protesters wearing black masks and using black umbrellas to block cameras, paying homage to anti-fascist aesthetics from the 20th century. Flyers circulated prior to the event by the group, By Any Means Necessary, or BAM, warned of right-wing protesters and called for the community to defend itself against Nazis calling for the genocide of LGBTQ people. Marquez, known for his comprehensive coverage of political events across the spectrum on his channel, Right Now Views, attempted to film the event through the library's windows. Suddenly, a suspect wearing gloves and a full-face ski mask rushed towards Marquez and delivered a forceful blow to his cheekbone, visibly shaking him. A sheriff's deputy standing just feet away witnessed the attack but did not apprehend the suspect, despite repeated pleas for help.
oh, get some. He's dead.
Stop fighting!
Amidst the chaos, a counter-protester known as Zodiac Rose, legal name Hunter Lee Darling, can be seen vogue dancing around Marquez, physically impeding his movements as he tried to escape the crowd.
Get out, Jairo!
I'm not touching anybody. You need to leave. I'm not touching anybody.
At one point, an activist rushed up behind to grab his phone and camera, resulting in his phone falling to the ground. Rose stomped on the phone as 3 activists wrestled. The suspect displayed confidence that he wouldn't be pursued and casually walked away. A drag queen representing the program approached the counter-protesters, appealing for de-escalation and the positive space for children to participate. The counter-protesters can be heard drowning out her voice with their chants.
By creating a ruckus, it's actually going to distract from what the program is trying to do, which is teach kids about compassion, about reading, about expressing themselves. But if their core memories of the event are fights breaking out in the lobby, that's what they're going to remember, and they're going to start to be afraid of stuff.
The entire chaotic encounter was captured on video and shared on Twitter, quickly going viral with over 2 million views. Despite this clear evidence, the West Hollywood City Council, known for addressing events far beyond the city's scope, failed to acknowledge the assault when it was brought to their attention at a city council meeting 2 weeks later. Their silence left many residents and local activists puzzled and disappointed. However, at West Hollywood Pride, the West Hollywood Sheriff's Department did make arrests, apprehending Zodiac Rose and Abby Thomas.
This is what we need! This is what we need! This is homophobic! He was being homophobic! He was laughing at a liberation sign! I told him he shouldn't be there! I told him that he'd no cops at Pride! And then they're detaining me! I did nothing wrong! My name is Zodiac Rose! They are detaining me! And I was just talking to an officer!
Rose had an outstanding warrant for vandalism, battery, and felony robbery. Thomas was arrested for interfering with the arrest. In response, supporters of Rose and Thomas organized rallies and raised thousands of dollars for their bail, accusing the arrests of being political retaliation and exemplifying abusive policing of LGBTQ people. The leadership of ACLU SoCal expressed concerns about the arrests and called for the removal of law enforcement from Pride events. Rolling Stone and other national publications questioned the accuracy of the theft charges against Zodiac Rose. Notably, both civil society and the mainstream press have largely neglected to condemn the political violence against Marquez. Mayor Seppi Shine commented on the Pride arrests, criticizing them as unnecessary, failing to address the assault. She highlighted a closed meeting that occurred with select activists and the Weho sheriffs, notably excluding activists representing the assault victim. Surprisingly, after reviewing the evidence provided by the Sheriff's Department, the District Attorney's Office decided not to pursue the most serious charges against Rose, leaving only a misdemeanor charge of vandalism. Nearly 3 months after the assault, I caught up with Jairo to find out about his recovery and his pursuit for justice.
I'm Jairo Marquez from RightNowViews.com. I recovered now. Emotionally, I felt like I was just doing my job. I was there covering the protest. I wasn't there to disrupt anything. I was just filming. I literally was just walking by and they were yelling at me. And they were already, before I even got punched, they were already getting physical with me, covering me with an umbrella. They were pushing me with an umbrella and they were trying to knock my phone off. Hunter Lee Darling had his foot over my phone. I was trying to take it from underneath his foot. He continued to crush my hand under his foot with my phone. And there's like at least 3 people trying to grab the phone at the same time I am. It's not the big deal if they would have took my phone. I would have just wiped it because I had the footage. And that's what the main thing I think they were trying to do is to take my footage because it takes away from the work I did to be there.
Did you sustain any injuries?
When they crushed my hand, that was the main attack I got because I was recovering from that for like months. 2.5 months, my hand was hurting, and every time I would do something, it was in the way. I would be like on the train, and I would have to hold on, but I couldn't hold on because it was painful. I spoke to the district attorney yesterday, so this is like really recent still, regarding Hunter Lee Darling and what's his punishment for what he did, which I don't believe is the correct punishment.
That punch to your face looked pretty intense on the video.
Well, I ended up punch to the punch. So they got me. It was a cheap shot. When I got punched, I went to the hospital that night. I was busy the whole day, so I couldn't go to the hospital right after. So I had to deal with that pain the whole day. I went to another protest right after that. I had to go film in Beverly Hills. It was a really loud protest, so that added to the pain to my head. At the end of the day, I had like a throbbing headache. And I was sitting at the Kaiser Permanente. I recovered within weeks of that, but the hand injury was the one that took me longest to recover from. After what initially happened to me, I went to the station, of course, and I filed a police report. And one of the officers who wasn't there saw the video, and he said that they failed me. And he apologized for them not arresting them at that moment.
Do the police know who punched you?
We're suspecting it was Precious Child. So he made a music video about baseball. In the music video, he mocked how I got jumped by Antifa. So he has this long obsession with coming after me. He's already come after people who are around me at protests.
How did you feel when someone was finally arrested?
It was one of those unexpected things that I didn't know was going to happen. But when it did happen, I was just really, really, really happy. Like I was just in a really good mood that day, and I was already in communications with them, and I was hoping that they would do the right thing. And I was really happy that they did the right thing. All these media, all the Twitter people were coming after them. So I was like, gosh, I hope they don't drop everything just because of the media, which I think is what happened.
How did you react when the district attorney's office dropped the charges for battery and felony robbery?
It was disappointing, and it was, in a way, it was expected. And I was like, please don't do this. Please don't do this. And then it happened, and I was like, I knew it. I had a feeling because like all this Twitter stuff, and then they were saying that I'm like a Nazi, and like all these crazy lies that are really not true. The West Hollywood mayor I heard was involved. They must have heard like a horror story about me. This person probably believes these lies about me, and this person has power. So I was already at that point thinking it was going to happen.
What are your thoughts on the media portraying the people involved in your attack as martyrs?
They were raising money off of a lie. They're saying that they were targeted for being activists. They were stationed around the corner of the sheriff's station, a couple tables away from the sheriff's booth. If you're around anywhere and there's sheriffs and you have a warrant and they recognize you, what do you expect? You have to get arrested. That's the law. So they had to twist it and say that it was about a completely different issue, that they knew was a hot topic and that it was going to get people riled up, which they did. They got random people riled up. They didn't even know what was going on. The girl that got arrested was raising money for him online, and then I saw her speak at ACLU, like on a live stream. They had her speak. She shouldn't have obstructed like an arrest and then go on to say that they're arresting them for like a completely different reason. She kept saying that I'm a Proud Boy. I'm not a Proud Boy, so that's the thing that she's been saying about me.
How do you deal with people labeling you like that?
Well, I don't really get mad when they say these things because I know it's completely not true. Something I heard was like a Holocaust denier. Like, I've never denied the Holocaust. I've never said anything about the Holocaust. I guess that's just an easy way to discredit me and say that people shouldn't listen to me because I'm this really horrible, evil person. I mean, I have to live with it. Like, I have to be out in public a lot, and I can't not be out in public. So I have to just always watch my back. And sometimes when I'm in public and somebody like says something to me, and like, they see me on the news or they hear something about me, like my counselor, one of the counselors I had, I'm pretty sure he saw me on the news or something, heard something on the media, because he started acting really strange, and we're not really as close anymore. And I never told him anything about activist stuff I'm doing or any of the journalism stuff I'm doing. I always keep that stuff away from certain people. So I always have to keep it in the back of my head that these people are out there. After that incident, they posted a bunch of flyers around Hollywood saying all these lies on the flyer that like I'm like a Nazi and stuff. That wasn't really scary for me. So I've been going out even with a giant crowd of Antifa. That day I got attacked, I walked into that mob. I wasn't afraid. Even after they attacked me, I wasn't afraid. I was still there. So it's not going to stop me. If I still see Antifa, it's going to honestly motivate me to keep going and keep filming. I'm not intimidated.
Steve Martin is a former West Hollywood City Council member and has expressed concern regarding the lack of support for First Amendment rights in West Hollywood.
Well, I've been involved in the city from the beginning. I was active on the City Hood Incorporation campaign. I served on City Council for 2 terms, and I've been active since then. Really love being here in West Hollywood.
What do you think about what happened at Drag Queen Story Hour?
I think like a lot of people, I just saw it on Wehoville, and I watched the video, and I saw that one guy come up and hit the demonstrator in the side of the head. It kind of looked like the sheriff let that person get away. And it was really disturbing because people there who were part of the counter demonstration didn't seem to have any objection to somebody engaging in violence. You know, I have a long history of street activity, you know, back from Stonewall and ACT UP, and nobody ever did that back then. I mean, when people acted out and people got violent, people would surround them, people would come to them and either confront them or consult them, do something, because we had a responsibility for the group. You just couldn't let one person hijack whatever you were doing by engaging in violence or encouraging other people to engage in violence. At this demonstration, I noticed that the guy who hit the demonstrator, nobody in the group seemed to think that that was a bad thing. And that was discouraging. In the video, Zodiac's really prominent. Yeah. And he was pushing it. There was more than, you know, I didn't see any part of the video where he stepped on that person's hand or broke the phone. But he really was, it was in that person's personal space and could have been punched just in self-defense. And he was trying to provoke a violent reaction.
Do you think the mayor's statement and media attention was a factor in some of the charges being dropped?
Well, I read about that in the LA Times, and I saw that the mayor, Kpfk, was not upset that that the person who was arrested had done something wrong. She was upset because the sheriff had arrested this person at Pride. And I just thought that was a bizarre take on her responsibility as mayor. I mean, law enforcement has to arrest criminals wherever they find them. And just because this person, committed an assault at a political event doesn't mean that that person's a political prisoner. That person's still a violent offender and probably a psychopath.
Did you see that ACLU SoCal hosted some of the arrested activists on a panel and recently tweeted in their support?
No, but it doesn't surprise me. I think, John Erickson, the council member in West Hollywood, is involved with the ACLU. That's part of his resume. And so I'm assuming he's got some influence over there.
He's the double per president, right?
Right. And it just, it seems like an odd position for the ACLU to take, because the ACLU is supposed to be there to fight for people's right to the First Amendment. And I understand why the counter demonstrators were there. But at some point in time, we have to understand that we have to respect everybody's rights to express themselves, or nobody's going to have the right to. You can't have the kind of moral certainty that people like Kpfk and Zodiac and these other people expound, because politics is never morally certain. We can have moral values, but don't confuse your political ideology as making you morally superior. Biggest defect of the current left is that they're the new Puritans, that they believe that they are right, everybody else is wrong, everybody else should be burned at the stake or banished, doesn't make the movement more coherent. All it does is make us more insular and make us run like lemmings off a cliff. It's not helping. West Hollywood gets a non-gender bathroom, and the Republicans take over a state legislature. We're engaging in the culture wars in the most ineffective way possible. to push ourselves out so that we have fewer friends instead of more friends.
If a suspect has been identified and is known to the other activists, is that a legal liability to them?
I don't think there's there probably isn't a legal responsibility, but I think there's a moral one. If you're not going to report this person, at least talk to this person and confront this person and say that their actions are inappropriate and say that you're not going to continue to tolerate them. We all have to police our side here. There were a lot of people on January 6th who were at the demonstration who were pro-Trump, but they weren't there to riot. And some of them got caught up in the riot, but a lot of them said, you know what, this is stupid and I'm getting out of here. We really don't want to be in that situation.
Do you have any insight for younger activists?
I really think that a lot of people feel that they missed the revolution and they somehow think that they're going to create it. And it's really difficult for me because, our community has come so far. Life's not a video game. People get hurt. There may be times and places and countries where political violence is maybe the only answer. But I don't think violence is appropriate at a demonstration over drag queen story hour. Let's keep some respect. Where's the common sense? I guess they don't have a common sense channel on the internet.
Rose and Thomas are currently released from police custody. The assailant is still at large. Reporting from West Hollywood for KPFK Rebel Alliance News, this is West Siegmiller.